Ever notice how some things instantly irritate you, even when they shouldn't? That tight feeling in your chest, the urge to defend yourself, the silent comparisons? You don't choose it, it just happens. That reaction isn't random. It's insecurity quietly running the show. In this video, we're breaking down 5 things insecure people hate the most. And here's the uncomfortable part. You probably recognize yourself in more than one. Watch till the end, because number 4 hits hardest and most people deny it completely. If this stings a little, that's the point. So let's start with the first thing, because this one usually triggers people immediately. 1. Honest feedback. You say you want honesty. You even tell people, be real with me. But the moment real feedback shows up, your mood changes. Your smile tightens. Your brain goes into defense mode. Suddenly, the person giving feedback is negative, jealous, or just doesn't get you. That's insecurity talking. Honest feedback doesn't feel like help to you. It feels like an attack on who you are. Instead of hearing information, you hear judgment. So you explain yourself. You justify. You mentally prepare a comeback you'll never say out loud. Here's the thing. Feedback isn't about your worth. It's about behavior, skills, or choices. But when you're insecure, you mix those. A comment about your work feels like a comment about you as a human being. That's why even polite advice can feel unbearable. You may nod and say, yeah, makes sense, while secretly replaying it all day. You don't grow from it. You survive it. Insecure people often surround themselves with yes people. Not because they love praise, but because praise feels safe. Honesty feels risky. And growth always starts with risk. If feedback hurts more than it helps, it usually means it hit something fragile inside you. But don't worry, this reaction is common. Awareness is the first crack in that armor, and cracks let light in. Now let's move forward, because what you hate next might be even harder to admit. 2. Others' success. When someone else succeeds, you clap, on the outside. On the inside, something twists. Their win feels uncomfortably loud. You start comparing timelines, effort, luck, and connections. You tell yourself stories to feel better. They got help. They had advantages. They're not even that good. And maybe some of that is true. But the emotional reaction isn't about them. It's about what their success forces you to look at in yourself. Insecurity turns comparison into a reflex. You don't choose it. It just happens. Someone else's progress feels like evidence that you're falling behind. Even if you were fine 5 minutes ago, now you're questioning everything. You might scroll faster. You might mute them. You might downplay their achievement in your head. Not because you're cruel, but because your self-worth feels threatened. Confident people see success as proof that progress is possible. Insecure people see it as proof that time is running out. That's why jealousy shows up quietly, disguised as jokes, sarcasm, or indifference. You don't hate successful people. You hate how small you feel around them. Once you understand that, comparison loses power. Their success doesn't subtract from you unless you let it. But speaking of power, wait until we talk about how silence messes with you. 3. Being ignored. Nothing messes with an insecure mind like being ignored. A late reply feels personal. A short message feels cold. No response at all? That's a full emotional crime scene. You replay conversations. You check timestamps. You wonder what you did wrong. Your brain fills the silence with worst-case stories. Rejection, annoyance, disinterest, all without real evidence. When you're insecure, silence is never neutral. You don't see it as they're busy. You see it as I'm not important. And that thought sticks. You might double text, over-explain, or pretend you don't care while caring deeply. You want reassurance, but you don't want to ask for it. So you sit there, staring at your phone as it owes you money. The truth is, secure people don't rush to conclusions. They don't need constant proof that they matter. Insecurity turns attention into validation. If attention drops, so does your sense of worth. That's exhausting. for you and everyone involved. Learning to tolerate silence is powerful. It teaches you that your value doesn't disappear when someone looks away. You still exist, you still matter, even without a notification lighting up your screen. And next, let's talk about the people who trigger you just by existing confidently. 4. Confident people. Confident people make you uncomfortable, even when they do absolutely nothing wrong. You see someone speak clearly, walk calmly, or own their space, and something inside you tightens. You tell yourself they are arrogant, fake, or trying too hard. But psychology says otherwise. According to social comparison theory, you judge yourself based on others around you. When someone shows confidence, it highlights the gap between who you are and who you want to be. That gap hurts. You might catch yourself nitpicking their flaws, making jokes, or secretly hoping they fail, not because they deserve it, but because their confidence feels like a mirror you did not ask for. Studies in personality psychology show that insecure people often misread confidence as dominance or threat. You assume confident people are judging you when, in reality, they are usually too busy living their own lives. The irony is that real confidence is quiet. It does not need approval. That silence is exactly what makes it scary. You want reassurance, signals, validation. Confident people don't offer those things on demand. So your mind fills the gap with stories. Most of them are wrong. Once you realize confidence is not an attack, your reaction changes. Until then, it feels personal every time. Be honest. Have you ever reacted this way without realizing it? Let us know in the comments. However, things get even worse with setting limits and saying no. 5. Setting boundaries. One of the biggest triggers for insecure people is respecting boundaries. When someone sets one with you, it stings. A lot. Someone says no, asks for space, or stops explaining themselves, and your brain instantly goes dramatic. You assume they are mad, pulling away, or rejecting you as a person. Psychology calls this rejection sensitivity. Insecure people often link boundaries to abandonment, even when none exist. Instead of hearing, "I need space," you hear, "You are not important." So you push back. You ask for reasons. You over-explain your feelings. Sometimes you guilt trip without realizing it. Other times, you play the victim in your own head. Research shows people with low self-esteem struggle more with boundaries because they rely on constant access for emotional safety. Limits feel like the floor disappearing. Healthy people set boundaries to protect energy, not to punish you. But when your self-worth depends on others' availability, boundaries feel cruel. You start testing them. You text again. You check reactions. You look for cracks. That only pushes people further away, which confirms your fear. Fun cycle, right? Learning to respect boundaries means learning that you can survive without constant reassurance. That is uncomfortable, but necessary. Now, if you have any of these habits, even with a little percentage, how are you going to deal with it? Self-compassion is your answer here. Bonus: self-compassion power. If you want to really solve insecurity, instead of just pointing it out, self-compassion is your secret weapon. Psychology research shows that treating yourself with kindness, especially when you mess up or feel inadequate, doesn't just feel good. It actually rewires how your brain reacts to threat and stress. People high in self-compassion show less anxiety, less rumination, and more emotional resilience than people who just try to boost self-esteem by comparing themselves to others. Here's the no BS version. Insecure people usually get stuck in a loop where any little mistake feels like a personal crisis. But self-compassion doesn't judge your flaws. It contextualizes them as normal human stuff, which reduces that "OMG, I failed, so I'm worthless" brain noise. That's backed by data showing self-compassion helps people bounce back faster after ego threats like criticism or public embarrassment. And get this, self-compassion doesn't disappear if you fail at something. Unlike self-esteem, which tanks when you don't feel successful, self-compassion stays more stable because it's not based on being better than others. So if you're caught in insecurity hell, this step isn't about pretending you're perfect. It's about developing a mindset where setbacks don't feel like character assassinations. It's where you go from "why me" to "okay, what next?" And that switch alone can change everything. Insecurity isn't a personality flaw. It's a human experience. Everyone feels it at different stages of life. The difference between staying insecure and becoming confident is awareness. So instead of asking, "Why does this bother me?" try asking, "What is this trying to teach me?" Don't forget to share this video and subscribe to the channel for more videos. Thanks for watching.